Okay, next we will be setting up our lighting for the shot, and for this ship's emissive, I will choose something that will follow our reference a bit more, so it's a bit more bluish. So I'll choose something like that. After that, I will switch off the white HDRI that was set just now. So I'll just disable this, and this is what we will see. And then I will bring in the HDRI of space. So I'll go to my Arno tab, and if you, well, I'll just reposition my camera. And if you cannot access if you already have Arno downloaded, you can access it through here. So I'll control click my icon, and this is what we will see. So I'll unlock, right? Okay, so I'll just rename the node to space HDRI, and I will reposition my sky dome to world center. Okay, and then to put in texture, I'll come down to color type and change it to texture, and I'll find my HDRI. Okay, so I'll do a render. So if we test render now, we will see the HDRI's background, but we don't want to see the image because we want to composite in with another background later on in Nuke. So to turn this off, we'll come down to contribution and turn off camera. I will also switch off transmission and subsurface since it's not contributing to our shot. Next, I will decrease the max bounce. So max bounce is the amount of times the light will bounce around the scene. So I will decrease it to save us some render time. And next, I will change the HDRI resolution to 2K since our HDRI is 2048. So if it's 1K, then you'll change accordingly. Okay, so we can stop the render now. So this is what we'll get, and the HDRI is working because it's giving off a blue fill on the bottom of the sheet, and as you can see here, according to our reference. Okay, so next we will set up the top rim light of the shot. So for that, I'll be using a quad light, and I will lock my camera to what my light sees, so that when I move my camera, the light follows. You can see that it's following. Okay, so I'll position it on top of the sheet, behind the camera. Sorry, behind the sheet towards the camera. Okay, so something like that. Okay, so I'll come down to light. I will bump up the exposure, and then I will change the quad size. So for the light size, right, the bigger the scale is, the softer the light becomes. And because I have a high exposure value, I can increase my quad size a little bit more. So for the roundness here, it's for how round the lights will be. So if I put it at 1, it will become a disc light, and if it's at 0, it will be the same, it will be a square. So I'll keep it at halfway, 0.4, 0.5. And as for soft edge, it's how great the lights fall off on the edge will be. So the higher the value, the more gradient it will be at the edge. So I'll keep it low. And then for spread, it's how wide the light spreads, something like spotlight. Okay, so I'll unlock, and we can do a test render. Okay, so it looks okay on the sheet, but on the background you can see this white portion, and this is the lights camera contribution, and we don't want this, so I'll stop the render. It's a bit distracting and it will be hard to composite out later, so we come down to contribution again. We'll turn off camera, and likewise we'll turn off transmission subsurface, and also decrease the max bounce. I'll just rename the node. Okay, and then we'll do another render. So now it's gone. Okay, and I do feel that the light is becoming a bit more diffuse on the top, and it's not showing off as a very strong spotlight. So to fix that, we will decrease our spread, and then immediately we'll be able to see that there's a stronger spotlight on the corner of the sheet. I'll make it a bit more intense. So then you will look more like our reference, where there's this very heavy spotlight on the top left corner of the sheet. Okay. So next we will create the fill light to bring the bottom of the ship out of darkness a bit more. And also at the same time, I do feel that this blue might be a bit too much, a bit too strong. So the one way to fix this is to rotate the HDRI so that the blue hue faces another direction. So we come down to transform, and we just rotate the y-axis. So you can see that the blue is decreasing as I go. Okay. So maybe that will work out a bit more. Okay, so I'll just decrease the exposure. Okay, so now we'll create the fill light. So I'll angle it at the bottom, and I'll use a quad light again. And likewise, I will lock the camera and position it somewhere below. Okay, I'll just rename the light. Okay, I'm gonna come down to light, and I'll change the color. I'll put it somewhere around purplish, purple color. Okay, and then I'll tweak up the exposure. I'll keep the soft edge on maximum. Okay, so that it feels a bit more distant and it's softer. And then I'll also increase the quad size. I'll just pull it further away. Okay, I'll just do a quick render. Okay, so now you see there's a source of purple light coming from the bottom, and as compared to not having it, this breaks up the shot a bit more in terms of hue, and in terms of what we see, it's not that blue, right? So if you take a snapshot, you can see the comparison. So this brings a variation to our lighting setup, because in space there's more than blue hues, there's also other colors that's contributing as well. And also there's this tone of red and blue, which feels a bit more cinematic. Okay, so now the lights are done. Next we will move on to create the environment fog to create a layer of realism in the shot. So to do that, we go into our shader, and then we will put down a Arnold shader network. We just rename this to environment. Okay, so we're gonna come in here, and instead of using out material, we'll be getting rid of that, and we will be using out environment. So environment output here, and then we're gonna put down a fog node and then a physical sky. So physical sky will create a template of a real blue hued sky, but we only need the gradient, so we'll be turning that off later on. After that, I will connect our fog to the one on top. Okay, so we come out here, and to apply it to our shot, we come down to render, and under environment, we will insert the shader. Okay, so we can do a render test. So then you'll see that the fog is very thick, and then there's a blue hue sky at the background. Here we go. And it's not working because the shot is at night. So to switch it off, we'll come in and we'll go down the physical sky. Under azimuth elevation, we'll uncheck it. So when we render now, you will see a black to brown hue background instead here. Okay, so this is what we want. We'll increase the sun size, and then we will change our ground albedo to white so that it doesn't reflect off the bottom of the sheet. Okay, so now to change the color and the density of the fog, we'll come down to fog and we'll change the color here. Okay, and then we will decrease the distance. Right, maybe the color can go down a bit darker to show more of the sheet, so that it doesn't put everything into a foggy, blurry mix. Okay, so that's working fine. So we'll come down to our out environment, switch off our camera so that the brown background doesn't show up when we render, and then we will get a black background. Okay, maybe we will turn down this. We'll keep all these passes here because we will need it when we render. Okay, so that's it for now. Next, we will be creating the pyro lighting based on our reference here, because it contributes most to our shots lighting.